I was looking over the source material for today's deep dive,
Yeah.
and I couldn't help but laugh because it starts with this scene that is just so painfully relatable.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been there, right? Usually around New Year's.
Yeah.
You're standing in front of the mirror. You're trying to force this positive affirmation on yourself.
Oh, yeah. I am wealthy.
I am wealthy. I
Yeah.
am completely calm. You're saying it, but your whole body is screaming, no, you're not.
Right. There's that immediate internal pushback. It just feels hollow.
Exactly. Hollow.
Yeah.
And that feeling is usually where my self-improvement kicks go to die.
Well, that recoil you're talking about, that's actually a real psychological thing. It's cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
When there's a big gap between your current reality and what you're saying, your subconscious mind it rejects it. It's like a bad organ transplant. It actually creates more resistance, not change.
Which brings us perfectly to our topic today. We are diving into a practice that claims to, well, completely bypass that whole internal argument.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about sigil crafting. And I know what you might be thinking. Sigils. Like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
We're talking about sorcery here.
And to be fair, the roots of this are definitely in ceremonial magic, Heraus magic. You can't really ignore that history.
Right.
But the source material we're looking at today, sigil crafting, the art of personalizing intent, it frames this in a totally different way. It's less about casting spells and more of a psychological tool.
A tool for focus, yeah.
Yeah.
The mission of this deep dive isn't to convince you that, waving a wand works. It's to explore how turning a desire into a symbol, just a doodle, a shape, might be a better way to hack your own subconscious.
Hack is the perfect word. The whole argument in the text is that we need to stop trying to talk to our subconscious in full English sentences.
Because it doesn't speak English.
Doesn't speak English, not in the way our conscious mind does.
So let's start there with the basic definition. What is a sigil in the context of this source? Because if you Google it, you see some pretty intense-looking stuff.
Yeah, you do. But in this context, you have to strip all that aesthetic away. A sigil is just a symbol that represents a specific intention, a desire, an energetic shift you want to create. But here's the key part. The source hammers home.
What's that?
It's your symbol.
So I'm not looking up ancient symbol for courage in some old book.
No, and the book argues those old symbols often fail because they don't have any real, personal, emotional weight for you. A sigil is bespoke. It's custom made for your goal right now.
Okay, but why go through the trouble? Why draw a symbol when I could just write, I want a new job on a sticky note?
Right.
Why does the shape matter so much?
This is where it gets really interesting. It's about the language of the mind. The source explains that the subconscious, the part of you running your habits, your gut feelings, it operates on shape, motion, and meaning that's, beyond words.
That makes sense when you think about dreams.
How so?
Well, you don't dream in bullet points or paragraphs. You see images, you feel things. It's all very abstract.
Precisely. The conscious mind, the part that does your taxes and worries about emails, it loves words. It loves to analyze.
It's the critic.
It is the critic. If you say, I am confident, the critic fact checks it against that time you tripped on the stairs yesterday. It acts as this gatekeeper.
Yeah.
But a symbol, an abstract shape that you just made up, the critic has no idea what to do with that. It just sees a squiggly line and says, whatever, and lets it pass.
But the subconscious gets it.
Because you made it. You embedded the data. It recognizes the signal.
It's like a corporate logo. I see the Nike swoosh. I don't need to read the word Nike to feel a whole bunch of things about athletics and, just do it.
That's a perfect analogy. You're basically designing a logo for your own intention. You're compressing a complex desire into one visual trigger that just slips past your mental defenses.
So the first step isn't even drawing, it's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And the source spends a lot of time on clarifying intent. Apparently most of us are terrible at it.
We really are. The author calls it the generic wish trap.
Like, I want more money. Or I want to find love.
Right. And those have two big problems. First, I want is a psychologically tricky phrase. If you program yourself with I want, you're actually reinforcing the state of lacking.
Oh, so you're manifesting the wanting, not the having?
Exactly. And second, they're just too vague. What is abundance? It's a buzzword. It doesn't mean anything specific to your nervous system.
So what's the alternative?
The source says you have to move to the felt experience.
The felt experience. I have some examples from the text here that I thought were just brilliant. So instead of, I want protection, which kind of implies you're scared.
Right. It's defensive.
The source suggests rewriting it as, I move through my days without fear.
Can you feel the difference in your body just hearing that? I want protection is tight. I move through my days without fear is. It's open. It's a state of being.
Here's another one. Instead of I want abundance, the text suggests, my needs are met consistently and gently.
Ooh, that word gently is doing a lot of work there.
It really is. Because abundance could be winning the lottery and then having a heart attack. But having your needs met gently, that paints a picture. It implies calm.
And that's something your subconscious can actually latch onto. It knows the feeling of gentle. It probably doesn't know the feeling of $1 million, you know?
Right. You have to anchor it in an emotional truth you can actually access.
Exactly.
Okay, one more. Instead of I want love, which puts all the power on someone else, the source suggests I trust myself to choose what nourishes me.
Now, that is a huge shift in agency. It's not about waiting for a delivery from the universe. It's about you trusting your own navigation. It's an instruction to your own mind.
So this is why personalization is everything. You can't just copy someone else's sigil.
You can't, because you don't have their emotional history. The symbol only works because of that little click of familiarity of truth in the intention behind it.
Okay, so let's say I've done the work. I have my sentence. I move through my days with calm focus. Now what? This is the part where I panic because I cannot draw. I still draw stick figures.
Yeah, me too. But the source is really, really clear about this. You do not need to be an artist.
Thank goodness.
In fact, trying to make it pretty can actually be a distraction. This isn't for an art gallery. It's for your brain.
So what's the actual method? The source mentions a few, but the letter removal one seems to be the classic.
It is. It goes way back to an artist named Austin Osman Spare, and it's very systematic. It's almost like a little puzzle.
Okay, walk me through it.
So, step 1, write out your sentence, all caps. I move through my days with calm focus.
Got it.
Step 2, cross out all the vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, okay.
Step 3, now look at the consonants left over and cross out any duplicates. So if you have 3 M's, you only keep 1.
So I'm left with just a jumble of unique consonants, M, V, T, H, R, and so on.
Right. And now comes the fun part. You start mashing them together, you overlay them, you turn them sideways, you connect them.
You're creating a ligature.
Exactly. Maybe the M turns into a zigzag. Maybe the straight line of the T shoots right through it. Maybe the curve of a D becomes the loop of an R. You just play with it.
Until the original letters disappear.
Until you can't see the words anymore. You just see a shape. You're abstracting it. You're encrypting it, so the conscious mind loses interest.
But what if that feels too, I don't know, mechanical? The source mentioned other ways, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can just do freehand intuitive drawing, hold the feeling of calm focus in your body, and just let your hand move on the paper. See what comes out.
Or combining shapes that already mean something to you. Like, if a triangle feels stable to you, maybe you start with that.
Exactly. The method doesn't matter as much as the feeling.
So how do you know when it's done?
The source calls it the recognition test. This is the most important part. You keep sketching, draft after draft, until you look at one and you get this little internal click.
A click.
Yeah, a feeling of, yep, that's it. That's mine. It might look like a mess to anyone else, but to you, it should feel like it belongs to you. If you look at it and just feel, throw it away, start again.
Okay, so I've got my weird alien logo.
Ugh.
It feels right.
Oh, no.
The outline says we have to charge it. And I'll be honest, this is where I started to worry we might need a cauldron.
No, no cauldrons required, I promise. The source does a great job of demystifying this. Charging is really just a metaphor for creating a moment of peak neuroplasticity.
So a moment of high focus.
High focus or high intensity. You want to present this image to your brain when it's super receptive.
How?
Well, the text lists a ton of methods. You can use physical intensity. Dance until you're exhausted, do a hard workout, and then stare at the sigil for a minute. Your defenses are down, your brain is flooded with endorphins, and it just stamps it in.
But it also mentioned the total opposite, which I found fascinating. Rest and quiet resolve.
Yes. This is so important. We think manifesting has to be this high-energy, forceful thing. But the source argues a moment of absolute stillness, of just sitting with the image and making a quiet internal decision. This is now true. That can be even more powerful.
So it's less about force and more about authenticity.
It's the difference between shouting and whispering a secret. The whisper can be much more potent.
Okay, so the sigil is charged. Now comes the part I think is the hardest for any control freak, which is all of us. The release.
The great paradox of
Yeah, the
release.
source basically says, now destroy it, burn it, rip it up. Why would I do that? I just spent all this time making it.
Think of it like sending an important email. You write it, you check it, you get it perfect. But if you never actually hit send, if you just leave it in your drafts folder and stare at it, does the message ever get delivered?
No.
Destroying the physical sigil is the act of hitting send. It's a signal to your brain that the job is done, the request has been filed.
And it stops you from obsessing over it.
That's the absolute key. Obsession is the enemy of the subconscious. If you keep it and stare at it every day going, is it working yet? Is it working?
Mm-hmm.
You're operating from anxiety. You're digging up the seed to see if it's sprouting.
And killing the whole thing.
Exactly. You have to trust that your mind is doing the work in the background. You have to get out of your own way.
But there's a really important section on this, a caveat, under trauma-aware practice.
Yes, and I'm so glad the source included this. For people healing from trauma or who just have high anxiety, the idea of letting go or losing control can be incredibly triggering.
You can feel unsafe.
Totally unsafe. It creates panic, not peace. And the sigil won't work if your system is flooded with stress. So in those cases, the advice is the opposite. Don't destroy it. You focus on integration.
And integration is when you keep it around.
Yes. You weave it into your life as a comforting, permanent presence. This is perfect for intentions like I am safe or I trust myself.
The source had some really lovely ideas for this, like having it made into a piece of jewelry or drawing it on the inside cover of your journal.
Or invisible encoding. I love this one. Drawing it in the steam on your bathroom mirror, tracing it with your finger on your thigh under the table in a meeting.
Or in the phone of your coffee.
Yeah. It makes it mundane in the best way. It's not some big, scary, magical act. It's just part of your day. It becomes a touchstone, a gentle, constant reminder.
So whether you destroy it or integrate it, the big question is, what happens? What do results actually look like? Because I don't think a bag of cash is going to show up on my doorstep.
Probably not. And the source is very clear. You have to manage your expectations. Sigils rarely work like Hollywood magic. You look for subtle shifts, not lightning bolts.
The text used a phrase I loved, emotional softening around the intention.
That's usually the very first sign. The desperation it fades. You stop white-knuckling the outcome. Let's say your sigil was for calm focus. You won't suddenly become a Zen master. But maybe 3 days later, a stressful email comes in, and instead of spiraling, you just take a breath first.
You notice a little bit of space between the trigger and your reaction.
Exactly. And because you reacted differently, that whole situation plays out differently. And that changes your day. It's a domino effect. The sigil changes you first, and then you change your reality.
It all comes back to agency. We started this talking about affirmations feeling fake, like we're asking permission from the universe. This feels like taking ownership.
It is about reclaiming authorship. That's the core philosophy here. I mean, we are constantly bombarded by other people's symbols. Brand logos, stop signs, notification icons.
We're constantly reading and obeying external signs.
Right. And sigil crafting is basically saying, okay, I'm going to create my own signs now.
It's a quiet little rebellion.
It really is. It's you deciding what symbols color your own internal world. It proves to yourself that your own intentions are important enough to deserve their own language.
I think that's the perfect place to land. It's not about magic. It's about clarity, focus, and agency.
Absolutely.
So as you go about your week, we want to leave you with one final thought, a provocative question from the end of our source material. We've established that your subconscious is a pattern recognition machine, constantly reading your environment for instructions.
So look around you right now. Your desk, your bedroom, your car.
What symbols are you currently surrounded by? Are you staring at a pile of unopened bills that signals stress? Do you have a broken clock on the wall that signals stagnation?
What accidental sigils have you been living with?
And, more importantly, what unintended instructions have they been feeding your mind day after day?
Maybe it's time to clear some space and draw something new.
Thanks for diving deep with us.